Sri Ramayanum, the timeless epic of Bharat. It always sounds to be a very familiar story, but there are a lot of hidden details that many of us are not aware, and this short video is about one such. This is a very well-known part of Sri Ramayanam. During the abduction of Janaki Mata by Ravana, Jatayu encounters Ravana to save Janaki Mata and eventually succumbs to death. Towards the end of Kishkinda Kanda, when Lord Hanuman along with his Vanara Sena goes in search of Sita Mata towards the south of India, he meets Sampati, the brother of Jatayu, and Sampati narrates the story of how Jatayu and Sampati lived together as brothers. And the story what I'm about to say is just few lines from what Sampati narrated to Lord Hanuman. Sampati narrates how Jatayu and Sampati used to fly high in the sky, and as part of that narration, Sampati explains about different kinds of birds, and this is what he said. I will be just quoting parts of what he said and translating them from Sanskritam to English. Adyah panda kulinganaha, which means sparrows fly in the first plane of flight. It means they are the ones which fly closest to the ground. If you go a little higher, dvitiyo balibojanaha, which means in the second plane of flight, crows will be flying. If we go a little above further, trutiyam gachanti kraunchascha, which means in the third plane of flight, cranes will be flying. Chiyanas chaturdam gachanti, which means falcons fly in the fourth plane of flight, much higher. Further above, Grudra gachanti panchamam, vultures fly in the fifth plane of flight, much higher than the falcons. Further above, Shashtastu pamdha hamsanam, swans fly in the sixth plane of flight. The swans mentioned in Sri Ramayanam apparently are not existing today. Instead, we have bar-headed goose, which very surprisingly flies higher than the vultures in the Himalayan ranges. Often vultures and bar-headed goose interchange the positions. Both are almost like the birds which have unusual flight height. And finally, at the topmost, Vainateya Gatih Para, Sampati says that above all other birds, it's Garuda, which is the Vahanam of Sri Mahavishnu. Garuda flies at that height much higher than any other bird. And why Sampati is saying all this is to finally say that Sampati and Jatayu belong to the clan of Garuda and they fly at this height, and that's why he has been saying all the chronology of the order, narrating it to Lord Hanuman. Now if we stack up the entire sequence what Sampati narrated, we'll have the chronology of the flight heights of the birds, which are almost similar to what they are today, just with an exception that instead of Hamsa, we have bar-headed goose. It's quite interesting to see that Sri Ramayanam holds these kinds of intrinsic details, which we often miss, but it's very interesting to discover them, isn't it? Well, this is a very short story that we would like to tell you. And as always, thank you for watching.